Welcome back to another episode of Better Than I Found It, the podcast all things college golf. You're listening to Mike McGraw, the men's golf coach at Baylor. My guest today is Baylor senior golfer Scout McNealy. Scout and I spend the hour talking about his family, his time as a student athlete at Baylor, in fact, how I got him to Waco to begin with, his hockey background, his current teammates and some of the funny stories associated with that. But also we talk about his shoulder issues that plagued him while he was here at Baylor and actually ended his college career. We talk about various other subjects, including his brother playing the PGA Tour and growing up with 3 older brothers. Scout is easily one of the most diligent and sincere and genuine guys I've ever coached. I really think you'll enjoy getting to know him better. Scout McNealy, welcome to the podcast today. It's great to have you on Better Than I Found It.
Thanks, Coach. Excited for it.
Well, you know, I've over the past couple of years that I've been doing this podcast, I've had all of the Baylor senior golfers on the team every year. Well, you're my last one to do, and I think it should be interesting because I think you're a very, very intelligent, interesting guy, and you're a lot smarter than I am, but you're also funny. So I'm putting you on the spot here. You've got to be interesting, intelligent, and funny. Can you do that today?
Not sure about that one, especially since this is my first podcast, so I'm a little nervous, but we'll see how it goes.
Your very first podcast ever?
Yep, it is.
Well, I'm glad I could be a part of that. Let's knock this out of the ballpark. Scout, I'm going to ask a question to start with this, and that is, how in the world did a kid who grew up as a hockey player / golfer, 10 minutes from the Stanford campus, how in the world did he end up in Waco, Texas to play college golf?
Yeah, that's a good question. So pretty much my entire life, all the way and probably till my sophomore year of high school, I grew up just with the dream watching Maverick that I wanted to play at Stanford, wanted to go to Stanford even if I didn't play golf. And I thought that was my path because I had so much family that went there. And once I started to get really serious about golf, I started thinking, if Stanford didn't work out or if there was some other opportunity, I want to look there. And I was pretty set on staying on the West Coast. I didn't really want to go anywhere different. And
wait, you didn't want to go anywhere different, and you got all the way out here in Texas? Okay. All right.
Yeah, but so I was talking to Maverick about this process, and he said you should reach out to Coach McGraw. And I remember he mentioned Coach McGraw briefly early on. He said something about him. They really liked him, and I didn't think too much of it until he said, look, you should seriously consider going to Baylor because of that. So I ended up reaching out to Coach McGraw, and he was actually the last coach to respond to me, believe it or not.
I was the last? You kidding me?
Yeah, but after our first phone call, I pretty much thought that I was certain. Maybe it was a little bit naive, but I knew that I was going to Baylor. I just really talked so much longer. We had like an hour and a half phone call, talked about everything.
Do you know where I was when the first phone call occurred?
You were in a hotel in Chicago.
I was at Olympia Fields.
After it was a rest day before the practice round, I remember.
That's exactly what it was. We had traveled, and I think it was a little downtime I had. And
straight from the sun.
This is the first time you've told me that I was the last coach to respond. But what I was doing that morning early was I was looking through my inbox. And because it was September 1, you get tons of emails. Well, I just hadn't dealt with them. We had been to, I think, Minnesota and straight to Olympia Fields. So we had about a day and a half in between. I thought, I need to get these emails cleared out. And so I start at the top. I should have started at the bottom. Start at the top, and there's this kid from Indiana, this kid from here, this kid from there. And I got down, and all of a sudden I see this email, Scout McNealy. And I thought, Scout McNealy? That must be Maverick's little brother. And that's when I reached out to you. Sorry I was 8 days later.
Yeah, no hard feelings considering how it all played out. But after that, I ended up going on a visit later in the fall, and sort of the whole turning point for me was I remember we had a dinner on Sunday night, and it was you, me, my parents, and then Braden Bailey, Cooper Dossie, and Ryan Grider. And
we ate at a Mexican place here in town.
We ate at Ninfa's, and I just remember like getting along with those guys. I said, this is just where I want to be. I really, really liked liked their dynamic and thought they were some awesome guys and thought it'd be the right place for me.
You know, something you and I haven't ever talked about, but I've talked about with your mom. On that visit, your mom and dad had come out to see, where is this Baylor place? You know, what's going on out here in the middle of Texas? And your mom actually pulled me aside and said, Coach, I just want you to know, I mean, I so much love my youngest son. He's just an amazing kid. And I'm really kind of hesitant about him coming all the way out to Texas to go to school. Did I ever tell you that?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, but the point is she was saying, I just wanted you to know this is really hard for me. So I'm going to look around and watch. And this was literally when they got to town. She pulled me aside and said that. And I thought, you know what? That helps me a lot. It helped me a lot because now I know, okay, Mom obviously maybe just a little reluctant to let her baby come all the way out to Texas. But I did put it in the back of my mind, and I thought about it. But there's another ending to that story a little later, but go ahead. So we had a great visit.
Yeah, and pretty much I think a little less than a month after that, I walked away from that visit and said, Dad, I want to commit here. And my dad said, hey, slow down. I guess I was 15 at the time.
You were young. Have you turned 20 yet? I mean, you're the youngest senior in college I've ever seen in my life. Go ahead.
Yeah, 21 in December. So,
okay.
And I really wanted to commit, and my dad's like, look, you got to sleep on this, talk to people about it. And then finally, when I came back from Thanksgiving break, my dad said, all right, you know, if you still feel this way, you should be comfortable pulling the trigger on it. So,
well, I remember that your dad was pretty pragmatic, and I've got a little bit of a story on him. The following year, you actually took your official visit.
Yes.
So you had an unofficial visit 2 months after we started talking, and then it was a year later before you signed and took an official visit to campus. But I've got something else on that. But if I could think about it, I wasn't trying to force the issue, but I knew you were talented, and I knew you came from obviously a good golf family. So I thought, this might work. We'll see. And the way you connected with our players was like off the charts. So I thought, well, he's gonna benefit from those relationships for sure, and we'll benefit from that. But you know, I didn't try to force you into making a decision, and I let it be on your time frame. And when was it now again that you decided? Was it after Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was the week after Thanksgiving, so end of November or something like that.
Okay, it's still your junior year though that you committed.
Yep.
So we've got a year before you visit. Well, so I got the most wonderful letter from your mom probably 2 weeks after you verbally committed to me. So it would have been in December. And it was basically saying, I just want you to know, yes, I was reluctant when I first came, but now seeing what you all have to offer and just seeing the people you've got, I'm really excited for my young boy to be going out to Texas. So if I can fast forward a year to your official visit, it was like we had Johnny Kiefer and his parents. We had Luke Dossie and his parents. We had Tyler Eisenhower and his parents. So this was the largest visit, and we had you and your parents. The largest visit I've ever hosted, 4 players with both sets of parents. I mean, both parents all the way through. And so the visit was just about over, and your dad pulled me aside. And the reason I'm telling these 2 stories, one on your mom and one on your dad, is because it's something I'll never forget in recruiting. Your dad pulled me aside and basically said, hey, I'm really happy for my son. This is what he wants to do, and I want this to happen for him. And this isn't about him playing on the team. If he plays on the team, fantastic. I just want him to grow up, mature, be confident, and be ready to tackle the world, whether it's in golf or business or whatever. And I looked at your dad and I said, I can do that. I mean, that's not very high pressure right there, actually. But he was basically saying, I want this to be Scout's deal. Let's let him do it. I just want him to come out of it with these things. So before we move on, both your parents had those opinions, and I know they're happy that you came to Baylor. But what do you think you did get out of Baylor? You know, you've been here 3 years. You're going to graduate in 3 years, which is another reason I know you're smarter than I am. I couldn't have done that. What qualities do you think you take from Baylor? Your time here?
Wow,
that's a big question.
Pretty loaded question. So I definitely came here a lot less mature. I guess when I got here, I was very, very results driven. If things didn't go my way, I would, I guess, freak out, for lack of a better term. I also was definitely sheltered growing up. So sort of getting out, having to do things on my own, like learn, little things like that everyone learns when they go to college, like learn how to do laundry for the first time, stuff like that. And, it was definitely I was definitely lonely my first semester. And I had to go out of my way and get out of my shell a little bit, learn how to meet people, which was good for me.
Knowing you now, though, that shocks me because you make it look easy the way you interact with people, but I guess you were a little reluctant to begin with.
Yeah, definitely. It was just definitely good to sort of be in different surroundings and learn how to deal with that and everything that comes with it. I guess from a more literal perspective, I'm coming out with a degree in statistics,
mm-hmm.
which has been a really, really cool experience for me. I've loved studying it. I was a computer science major for my first year, and I realized pretty early on that qualifying isn't easy when you've stayed up till 4 a.m. working on a program. So I decided I would switch the stats, and I'm kind of grateful for that decision looking back. And I definitely learned a lot just through the stats program, and it's really valuable you learn how to learn things when you take a major like that. And I think that's pretty much the most valuable thing I took out of that. So,
well, it's kind of an exclamation point on my point earlier about you being a really smart kid, but you not only got your degree in 3 years, but you changed your major midstream. That's hard to do. So you had to do some extra work to get that accomplished, right?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I definitely took 10 hours my first summer and 9 hours my next summer, and then I took some heavy semesters like sophomore, fall. I took 18 hours, and then of course this spring I kind of overshot a little bit because I'm only in 7. I don't know what to do with myself. But
well, congratulations on your degree. I think it's fantastic. I'm glad it worked out the way it did for you. But there's another dynamic in this 3-year period. Literally right in the middle of it, we had a pandemic. And we're still living through that pandemic a little bit. Obviously, it's not as structured or stressful as it was a year or two ago. But so how did that affect you? A lot of kids have been affected in a really negative way. Did you try to figure out a way to turn it into a positive, or how did you work with COVID?
So, yeah, I guess it was kind of funny. I finally felt like I was settled in and starting to love Baylor probably February of my freshman year. And then all of a sudden in March, they're shipping us home.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was away from school in that spring and that summer, I really started to miss Baylor and miss being here, which was really good because it got me excited to come back. And I guess if anything, the pandemic got me more time, which because there's nothing else to do other than study, work out, and play golf. So it did have some benefits for me in that sense, I'd say.
Okay, but every one of your class of 2019, you couldn't quite finish your freshman year, and then the pandemic hits, and then it's affected kind of the way we've been living and doing, just like everybody's been affected. Yeah. But even with the pandemic, you finished in 3 years. So good job. I want to talk about your teammates. You've basically roomed with the same guys for your entire time at Baylor. So I'm gonna shoot out a name, and then you just give me characteristics, qualities, funny stories, anything you know about him. Okay, so we're gonna start with Tyler Eisenhart from Chicago, Illinois.
Wow, there's a lot to get into with this guy. When you first meet him, seems quiet, but ever since I've known him, he's just one of the funniest guys. One of the funniest guys I've ever met. Just got this subtle sense of humor. Never heard anyone complain about the guy because there's just nothing to complain about. It's the least flustered human being I've ever met. Like there's never a bother with him. Maybe the nicest chipping motion I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've coached for 35 years, and for the little bump and run, dribblers through the fringe, I've never seen anybody better. It's gimme every time.
Pretty much.
It's amazing. But one thing that you get to see is the Tyler I don't get to see, because Tyler's exactly as you described him. He's very easy, smooth, calm, doesn't get upset or flustered, but he's got a sense of humor that the coaches don't see very often that is off the charts. So, I mean, he puts you guys in stitches laughing, I think, at times at the house.
He does for sure. I mean, he's very definitely quick-witted, and he's I don't know. He's definitely a lot funnier once you get to know him, I'd say.
Yeah, I would agree. But a wonderful guy. Okay, Brandon Hoff.
Wow.
Wow. Give it a wow.
Brandon, he's been one of my best friends here. A lot of laughs with that guy. Definitely been some times where he has a habit of singing in the shower, and unfortunately his shower is about 2 feet through the wall from my bed. So I just have tried to learn how to sleep through that. But Hoff, he's I wish I could be as comfortable in my own skin as him. Really does not care what anyone thinks, is very, very good at meeting people, very good socially. And
did you get something from Brandon in that quality a little bit? Did he help you?
Yeah, I definitely kind of looked at him and go, man, like, he just doesn't care what other people think. I shouldn't be caring either. And I think that's been pretty cool.
That's great. Okay, Luke Dossie.
Luke. Luke, I don't know if I think my first semester, he didn't know what he thought of me, as a lot of people did. But he's really, this last semester, he's become one of my best friends here. It's really, really been cool. I know we'll get into this later, but he's been a huge part of my faith journey. I got baptized last week, and he was the one who baptized me, which was pretty cool.
We're definitely going to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that later. But just the most diligent, straightforward, hardworking, caring guys you can meet.
Yeah, I agree. He's a stand-up, just a stable, solid stand-up guy. No doubt about it. All right, finally, Johnny Kiefer.
Johnny Kiefer. To be honest with you, before I got here, I was just not looking forward to this guy. Like, I thought from every text I got from him, I was like, oh, this guy's just obnoxious. But believe it or not, like, he's a rare case in the sense that the better he's gotten in golf, the more humble and the more and the cooler he's gotten, and he's always been one of my best friends here. Crazy. I don't understand how that guy gets as much speed as he does. He just, his first swing in like an hour the other day, he hit 192 ball speed, which is just ridiculous. Very, very hard work and knows what he has to do to get better. And he just cares so much about his team and the guys around him and helping them get to where they need to be also. Yeah,
I agree with that. He's been a wonderful leader from that respect. Been pretty amazing. So those are basically the guys you lived with your entire time at Baylor. That's quite a crew.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, that's part of the great thing about going to college is, you can probably, they brought you out of your shell a little bit, and these are lifelong relationships. You're going to have these forever, and I think it's wonderful. And we mentioned what Luke's meant to you this semester, but let's flip and go back to 3 other teammates you had in life, and that was your brothers, Maverick, Colt, and Dakota. And so I want to begin by Maverick, Colt, Dakota, and Scout. Okay, those aren't just your run-of-the-mill names every day. How did that come about? How did your parents choose those?
So it started out, my mom had a crush on Tom Cruise. Okay. So Maverick for Top Gun. I think there's this one story where basically they were at some party that my dad was invited to, and she met Tom Cruise, and she totally freaked out. Said, "Oh, I named my son after you," and just sort of stood there awkwardly. And Tom Cruise just did not know what was going on. And then Dakota, the next one, his name means, I believe it means friend in some Native American language. Then we found out those were both named after American cars. So we went with Colt for my next brother, and then Scout. So I'm like a foreign Jeep.
By the way, the International Scout 1968, one of the greatest vehicles that's ever been on the road.
Definitely
period.
Want one.
Yeah, you need to get one of those. It's stunning how good those are.
Yeah. And so one thing about my name that's a little different is if I ever go to Starbucks or something like that, I'll always just say Scott. 'Cause it's just
easier.
I just don't want to deal with the double take. Wait, Scout or Scott? Or I just say Scott, makes it easier. And then it's funny, the last week, a couple weeks ago, Matt and I were in San Antonio. We went to Mod Pizza, and they always ask your name when you're at the order window. And Maverick goes first, and he said Scott. And I didn't know what to do because I couldn't say Scott. I think I just said Tyler, because Tyler always like shakes his head whenever I say that. So
that's crazy. You can't hide behind that name. No. It's an interesting name. Yeah. But ordering at restaurants, you just have to say Scott. Okay, I got you. Okay, you and I have one thing in common. 2 things. We both played golf. You're a lot better than I was. But number two is we're the last children in a fairly large family. In my day, we had 7 children, and my twin sister Patty and I are the babies. So we're basically the last child, and you're the last of 4 boys. What a dynamic growing up in a house with 3 older brothers.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So we had a bedroom with 4 twin beds lined up. Spent a lot of time with each other, to say the least. So we pretty much we were either going to get along with each other or hate our lives. So we decided we would get along with each other. And it was a lot of fun. Being the youngest definitely has some perks. Like Mav watched his first PG-13 movie when he turned 13, and I was watching it too.
PG-13, pretty risque right there.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I think it was something like Happy Gilmore. I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
But it was a lot of fun. Always trying to compete with my older brothers and everything we did, whether it was hockey, golf, putting contests, just little things like that.
Well, let's talk about hockey. Did all 3 of your older brothers play hockey?
Yes, we all did.
Okay, how did you get started in hockey? Because this is a golf family.
Yeah, my dad grew up in Michigan.
Okay.
And he played hockey through high school and was always a hockey fan, so we got into it. And it was Happy Gilmore's kind of the story of our lives.
Absolutely. When I first started recruiting you, you were still playing hockey competitively. And at some point, I think it might have been December of your junior year, did you get a concussion or something? And you basically called me and said, hey, I'm not going to be playing any more hockey.
Yeah, I had some whiplash or concussion, something going on. I was like, all right, you know what? I think this is just a good time to transition. Let's focus on golf here. Pretty
rough sport that hockey is. I remember Johnny played lacrosse and he would send me photos and he was just beat up. But I encouraged him to continue playing as well. So, but growing up in a family of 4 boys, that must have been a lot of fun. A lot of skinned knees but lots of fun.
Definitely.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So we've mentioned Maverick, and Maverick obviously was a hockey player growing up, and he was somebody you looked up to. But the first time I saw Maverick was at the U.S. Junior, and I thought, I found this great player. Look at me. And Conrad Ray walked up and said, hey, you like that golf swing? I said, I do. And he goes, yeah, he's coming to Stanford next year. So I thought, man, I knew a good player when I saw one. I just didn't know him early enough. So Maverick was an unusual case because he was a true walk-on, and he ended up being a 2-time college player of the year. And he's playing the PGA Tour today. So what things do you learn from Maverick in golf and outside of golf? What kind of influence has he been on your golf, or just being a big brother? Let's talk about him just for a couple of minutes, because I've got a huge amount of respect for Maverick McNealy.
It was just really cool watching him his first 2 years at Stanford, sort of going from being a borderline lineup guy to the best player in college golf. He would, on Saturdays and Sundays, he would just park up at their facility and practice all day, hit balls until someone shows up, challenge them to a putting contest, keep hitting balls, someone else comes, play them in a chipping contest, and just be there all day and really just put in so much more than anyone else did. And it was really cool to see him see the fruits of that. So that was always an inspiration to me. And he's always been so gracious to me, and always has time for me whenever I have questions about anything golf or life or anything like that. And he's been a really good guy to lean on for me.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because he's been a resource for me as well.
Yeah.
He's just so incredibly intuitive, intelligent, creative thinker. He and I both journal, so that's kind of one way I connected with him. But I obviously he's on his way in his pro career, and that's on his way. But I need one fun fact about him. Nobody knows that. Yeah, it might embarrass him a little bit, or it might bring. I just need a fun fact about him.
He can do the most accurate elephant noise and impersonation I've ever seen. I don't know why.
Really?
If you close your eyes, you'll think you're on a safari, but I don't know why he's able to do it, but it's very good. So if you ever see him, you'll have to ask him for it.
I'm going to ask him for that. He needs to do it the first time he wins on the PGA Tour. Just make the noise right on the 18th green.
He should.
That's fantastic. Okay, well, that's interesting to know. Most people would think he's this very straightforward, but he's got an incredible sense of humor, too.
He does.
Funny guy, almost goofy at times.
Yeah.
Okay, so your career at Baylor, obviously every young freshman comes in thinking, you know what we think. We're going to be an All-American. We're going to get ready for the tour, and it's all going to happen for me. And that hasn't happened for you. I think you started seeing the fruits of your labor earlier in this year, and then another injury. So let's talk a little bit about the injury, how you persevered through it, how you've handled it, and how it's kind of affected you, because it did affect your career, this shoulder.
Yeah, so I basically came into school, and I've been towards the end of my senior year, I started to have a little bit of a quirk in my shoulder, where at the transition my shoulder would pop a little bit, and then it would get sore. I couldn't like bench press or do exercises like that, and I got it to a point where it was I could get around with it, but it really started to flare up towards winter of my freshman year. And then I went in to go get surgery on it. I had a pretty big tear in my labrum.
Was that May at the end of your freshman?
Yeah, May of 2020, so end of my freshman year, and missed the entire fall rehabbing it. And I started to come back. I felt good for the first 3 months really after surgery, and then starting around March-ish of my sophomore year, it started to act up a little bit, but nothing crazy. And then just slowly throughout the summer and throughout the end of the fall, it got worse and worse, to the point where I couldn't really hit a driver hard if I wanted to. If I went and hit balls, I would start to feel like a snapping feeling in my shoulder, where pain would sort of shoot down my arm every couple shots, and then I would get a really big achiness in my shoulder, and it just sort of got to the point where I'd been rehabbing a shoulder for close to 4 years, and I was at a point where I'm like, I've seen so many doctors, tried so many things, and I can't go in and get another surgery on my labrum that got retorn. That, like, it's not, because I'll be at this square again most likely. So.
Well, this winter you went into the winter thinking I'm going to play in 3 tournaments, and you played your first tournament, and the last 2 rounds were 68, 69. And I thought, wow, he's got it. It's going. And then I got a call from you a week or so later. I'm having to withdraw from these last 2 tournaments, and I'm not really sure. But at the time, you kind of suspicioned it might be the last competitive golf you played.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I made that decision at the end of winter break, and I've since then I came and met with you and Coach Mikkel, and just told you guys, like, I'm just not going to be able to go forward with this. Which kind of been a bummer.
Yeah, that's been obviously a bummer.
Yeah,
but it's probably cleared up a few things for you too, as far as what you're going to be doing going forward and that type of thing. But so if you could, because I know kids out there listening to the podcast and parents of kids and coaches or whatever that have players that get injured, what was the struggle? How did you handle it? What was it like? Because this was a big thing for you.
Yeah, it's really hard when you're injured, because you go from doing something, I don't know 6-7 hours a day, to all of a sudden you can't do it anymore. You got to figure out how to fill the void, realize you want to know that there's more to life than golf, to a certain extent. Like, you want it to not be your life, but at the same time you can't just say that and become I guess lackadaisical and say, oh well, I don't need to get better. It's a line you have to walk, but it kind of made me realize, like, I'm more than golf. And I can be fine without it, which honestly, it was very hard for me to get over, because this is everything I've really, playing golf and playing in college and playing on tour is really everything I've dreamed of since I was a little kid.
Well, and anytime you invest so much of yourself in something, that's a lot of pain and suffering when it goes away.
Yeah.
I mean, you've put a lot of your life into golf for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I think that was really tough on me to watch it, because I remember just thinking, gosh, man, think of the hours he's put into that. But I also thought to myself, that same dedication, that same intent, that same hard work ethic, all of that same thing is going to pay dividends someplace for Scout. I just don't know where. And so do you agree that a lot of the qualities you used as an athlete are going to benefit you in life? And if so, how?
That's what I'm hoping. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'll report back in a few years.
Thank you.
But I definitely think being, little things like waking up early, working out, getting in routines like that, and always trying to outwork everyone, I think that'll help you pretty much wherever you go. And something my dad always tell me, if you go to bed every night, and you move the ball forward as much as you can go to bed. And that's sort of one thing that's always going to eat at me from this whole experience of not being able to play, is that I never knew if I could have made the PGA Tour. I never knew if I could have been an All-American, because I never really had the opportunity to push myself because of injury. And if I say I just wasn't good enough, I could maybe go to bed a little bit easier on that. But it's just something I'm going to have to learn how to accept.
So I'm going to ask a question, and then I think it leads to something else. Did you, in your mind, you feel like you gave it your best?
Yes.
Okay, then there are no regrets. I realize the regret is I'm not getting to play competitive golf, but you don't have the regret that I didn't work hard enough, or what if I'd have put the extra time in, or what if I'd have done this. That's the thing about you that I never questioned, not one time through this. If Scout was not on the practice tee, he was either studying or getting rehab or resting it or whatever. Never had that question in my mind. So yeah, it's not going to manifest itself in a career on the PGA Tour, but it's going to manifest itself somewhere in your life because you put a lot into what you do. And you were also a terrific student for that same reason. You're not just smart, you're hardworking and smart. So if I don't want to embarrass you, but I want to talk right now about an award that I just established a week ago, and it's called the Scout McNealy Award. It's going to go... to me, it's going to be the highest honor any Baylor golfer can achieve, period. I don't care if you win the National Player of the Year award. I don't care what award that you win in college golf. To me, the best one will be the Scout McNealy Award. And before you talk about it, it was something I thought about 3 months ago that I wanted to do this, because you had told me about 3 months or so ago, there's no way I'm going to get to play anymore. And I thought, man, that stinks. That really stinks. But I want to honor that, and I want to honor the memory of every player that's here will remember it, but future players won't know what true commitment to excellence looks like. Future players won't know what it means to fully give yourself to an endeavor. And you did that for 3 years for me, and I know you did it before you got to Baylor. So the Scout McNealy Award will go every year to the player on the team that exhibits the best qualities that you showed while you were here for 3 years, and you, Scout, are the first recipient of that award. So tell me about that. That I know that was a surprise to you last week.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Don't really feel like I deserve it, because basically every day, if you're given the opportunity to play college golf, I feel like you owe it to your coach and your teammates to just do everything you can to help the team, help your teammates, help yourself, because that helps the team. And I don't know, I just always felt like I was doing what I needed to do, and there's so many guys on our team that do that as well. And just always feel like I just wanted to pour into my teammates, and they would pour into me as much as we could, and I was just very grateful and fortunate to have those guys around me.
Well, never hurts, and I consider that in recruiting a little bit of good fortune, a little bit of mindful intentionality on my part. If I'm going to bring a kid halfway across the country from the Bay Area, I don't want to bring a jerk all that way. I want to bring somebody that's going to add to the team. He's obviously, I wouldn't have brought you out here if I didn't think you were a good enough player, because I knew you were a good enough player. And your brother had told me, without question, you're going to be a great player. Neither one of us could anticipate, nor could you, that the injury that we'd suffer. But I want to bring quality people into the program. And 100% that's why this award is named in your honor, because you're a quality human being. And I want future players to understand there's the benchmark, there's the deal. And that's what I'm looking for, and I want everybody to treat their teammates that way, treat the program that way, treat the game of golf that way, and the preparation that way. You've done it amazingly for 3 years that I've been around you, so thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I
don't know what to say. I figured you didn't. And I apologize for embarrassing you right there, but I wanted all of my podcast listeners to realize that it's about time I put my money where my mouth is. I preach for a whole career about how important it is to have good character, a great work ethic, treat your teammates the right way, do things the right way on a daily basis. It's about time I created an award that would honor that. And so, Scout, from now on, as long as Baylor Golf is around, you're going to be remembered for the great commitment you gave to us for 3 years.
Appreciate that, Coach.
You bet. Well, let's talk about another commitment, and that would be your commitment to your faith, which didn't really exist before too long ago, and it does now. So I want to talk about your faith journey here at Baylor, and if you would be so kind as to just kind of share a little bit of that.
Yeah, so I came to Baylor without a faith background. There were a lot of moments my freshman year where I was like, "Whoa, this is different," because it's everything when you're in Waco, Texas, compared to the Bay Area. And I started going to church last fall with Brandon Hoff. He took me for the first time, and it was always became part of my life. Wasn't really too much, maybe read the Bible once every 2 weeks. Didn't really commit to anything. And then this spring, I definitely had a lot more time on my hands, time to think about things since I'm not doing as much with my shoulder, and started looking into it and realized, look, this is something that I really believe in and something that I want to follow. So I made my commitment to follow Jesus.
Was that February?
February, yeah. And it's been really, really cool because I'm so lucky here because of the guys around me, like Luke Dossey, as I spoke about earlier. And then, fortunate to have College Golf Fellowship and Travis Wolf be here every week. He's been a guy that I've really leaned on, and he's helped me so much through this. And it's, Baylor's really been a great place for that, for me to grow in my faith. And it's one of those things that I'm not sure, I don't know how to say this. I'm not sure I would have come to faith had things not panned out how they did. And it was kind of funny last Friday night. We were sitting around the couch, and Brandon Hoff asked me, he said, if there's one thing that you would like to change from your Baylor experience, what would it be? And I offhandedly said I want to play better golf. Because it's you come in as a freshman, all you want to do is be an All-American and get everything that comes with that. But when I really thought about it, I was thinking for 5 minutes, and even now I can't think of anything. I said to Brandon, I don't think there's anything that I would change from it. Just simply the relationships that I've developed here has been pretty amazing. And just, everything I've learned, but just coming to faith, beginning my walk with Jesus this spring, I've had a completely different contentment and peace that I never had earlier. And it's kind of funny to me how, looking back, if you told me that this was how my college career was when I walked on the campus freshman year, I might have just left immediately. But there's just really nothing that I would change from it because I wouldn't want to jeopardize the way that things have panned out for my faith.
A question related to that. I always wondered, when I brought you here, I wanted to make sure that we didn't make faith or belief or anything about the Christian life force it on you, meaning I didn't want it to be an expectation. I thought it should happen naturally, and I just want to know how that panned out for you at Baylor. Because here it is your third year before you finally kind of started discovering it.
Yeah. I guess it just slowly became a part of my life, starting my freshman year, and when we were at a Waco Links Fellowship meeting, and I remember Colin Cober, he won some award. I remember they do this. I don't remember what it was. It might have been it wasn't most hole-in-ones, but if you're the last man standing, Ben Hagens will give you a Bible, and
right.
Colin Cober was sitting next to me, and he got the Bible and he handed it to me and said, "You need it."
He did, really,
kind of jokingly, but also maybe partially serious. So that just little things like that slowly came into my life, and it was kind of funny when I'd really been thinking about these things and had a lot of questions. Was really struggling a lot, at the start of this spring, figuring out how my, what's next for me in life. Luke Dossey sent me this really long text, mentioning that hey, I've been praying for you. I don't know if you have any questions. This is what I believe, and I'd love to talk to you about it. And it was one of those things that I was like, wow, like this text could not have come at a better time, and a lot of things like that. So talking to him and realizing, look, this is something that I'm willing to give my life to, and it's really just the more I've delved into it, the more at peace I've been, realizing that when you live life for yourself, a lot of things are going to go wrong. When you live life for others, it's probably going to be better.
Well, it really will be. I think being a servant leader is the way to go. And every time I'm trying to serve myself, it never works out quite as well as when I'm serving other people.
Yes.
So that's a good thing. Well, I am really thrilled that that's happened during your time here. And I didn't try to choreograph anything. And I hope and pray that a lot of people out there listening will realize that the best way you can be a guide or an example would be to live the right way and to treat people the right way. I mean, I look back in the Bible and I know that Christ walked with sinners all the time. So it's not like he segregated himself from that.
Yeah.
But we're really thrilled for you. I think it's a great part of your journey in life, and I'm just glad that you spent 4 years with us, or 3 years with us here at Baylor. Tell me, what do you see as, but I've got a speed round here in a minute for you, but just before we finish up, like what is in the future immediately for you? What have you got coming up?
So this summer, I'm moving back to Vegas. I'm going to be moving in with Maverick, which I'm really, really excited for. Dakota's going to be there for a little bit. So I'll be there with family, which will be a lot of fun. And then starting June 1st, I've got a 3-month internship at a little mergers and acquisitions advisory firm. To be honest with you, I do not know as much as I should. I don't know much about it, so I'm going to be I'm just be drinking from the fire hose, as they say. My first month or maybe more than that while I'm there. But I'm excited just to learn a lot this summer and see how that goes. Yeah,
I mean, I think pretty much nowadays companies, they basically hire a guy, but they're going to have to retrain him all the time anyway. So,
pretty much.
But this sounds like to me something you don't know a heck of a lot about right now.
No, I do not. I don't know how much my stats degree is going to play into it. It'd been better if I did finance or accounting for that. But as I said, like I learned how to learn, and I think that'll help me. One
thing I know you that will play into it is your work ethic and the energy you bring every day, which is really, really high. I think you've got a great and a zest for learning. So it's like, I think you'll probably figure it out, Scout. That's just my guess. You'll probably figure it out. Well, is there anything you want to say about just in general about your time at Baylor or anything to any of your teammates or anything like that right now before we head on to the speed round?
I don't really know. I mean, it's just been the coolest 3 years of my life, sort of grow and walk alongside all, I guess, 15 of the guys that I've played with. So
you had 15 different members of the team while you were here? Yeah.
I believe so.
That's all right. Okay. Yeah.
14 maybe.
Had a lot of success. We've had some tough times too. I mean, there's been some ups and downs, but I don't think that's anything different than what life's fixing to be for you. I mean, everybody wants to think it's going to be all perfect. It's not, so that's okay too. But I want to publicly say thanks for the commitment you gave to Baylor and to me and to your teammates and to all of us here. It's been a great 3 years, and look forward to you coming back and visiting through the years. And we're going to be playing on the West Coast next year, and I think you're going to be there at that tournament at the Prestige.
Yeah, the Prestige. I'm really looking forward to that one. Having the whole team out there and in my stomping grounds.
Yeah,
spring.
Be in your backyard. You've been in my backyard for a long time. Now I get to be on your turf.
Yeah.
Might be a little different story. What do you think?
Yeah, real excited for that.
Okay, Scout, well, thank you again, but we're going to do a speed round here, and these are about 7 or 8 questions, nothing major. A lot of them I've asked before to other guests. What is your favorite sports moment, if just period, that you've watched or experienced?
San Jose Sharks Game 7, 4 goals on a 5-minute major against Las Vegas.
Okay.
2019 playoffs.
That's your favorite there.
That was the coolest thing. Also, that one, but one I'd also put there was seeing Mav make a up and down from 295 with a 2-iron and a 10-footer on the 15th hole in the Corn Ferry. The second last event in 2019 when he ended up locking his tour card.
Were you there?
I was there.
Oh, so you got to see that.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. Pretty cool to watch.
Pretty clutch moment right there. Well, I was going to ask your favorite hockey team, but you've already told me that.
Yeah.
Okay. Chick-fil-A or Chipotle?
I'll go Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, okay. All right. Shawshank Redemption or Remember the Titans?
I've seen neither.
You've seen neither. You spent 3 years with me and you've seen neither.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Be careful on this one. And I think I know the answer. Well, I'm pretty sure I do. Luke Bryan or George Strait?
George Strait.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the king. He's good. I know you and Mav have even been to a concert of his.
I actually haven't. But
You haven't?
Mav's been a couple times.
Okay. So. All right. Well, George Strait gets that easy. That's not even a thing. Best shot you've ever hit in your life?
Wow. I don't know. This is a tough one. I know you have the hole-in-one ball sitting.
I do.
Sitting right there. That was kind of a funny moment.
Yeah, I've got a hole-in-one ball here in a rack here in my office. March 23rd of last year, Ridgewood, number 16.
Yes, I guess that's kind of a funny story. I was playing with Ryan Grider, and I hit this pitching wedge, and it spun back, and it was going in. Looked like it was going to go in. Ryan goes, I think that's going in. And we just see it stop right next to the hole, and I jokingly chucked my club 30 yards. I was like, oh, no! We were all screaming. We drove up there, and it was leaning against the flag. So
it was in, hole-in-one.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've made 10 holes in one and one albatross since I've been at Baylor, and I've got every golf ball signed by the player, the date, and the hole, and everything on there. In fact, we had just had one a couple of weeks ago, Johnny, out at Arizona State's tournament. From 244 into and off the left with the wind, hit a 5-iron. It's like, wow, right in the hole. So that probably is going to be your best shot, a hole-in-one. Come on.
Yeah, we'll say that.
All right, favorite Coach McGraw quirk, because there's so many. And maybe you don't have one.
I'd say probably how you will get 3 scoops of ice cream on a cone and then eat it all before the second guy is done ordering, and then you cut everyone else and are the third guy to order too whenever we get ice cream as a team.
Ice cream is a very competitive endeavor.
Yeah.
So I take it very seriously.
I don't know how your brain doesn't freeze.
They have maybe no brain, maybe something there. Who knows? Favorite pro golfer, not Maverick.
Wow.
Yep.
I'd say that's a tough one. I just love Ben Hogan.
Oh, God, it's the greatest answer.
So
you're a smart guy. Yeah, Ben Hogan's my favorite, too. So that's excellent. Excluding Maverick McNealy, of course. All right, final question. Your dream foursome, it can be you and 3 others, or maybe you may have a 5-some in your group. What is it going to be?
Probably my 3 brothers.
Okay, so you and your 3 brothers. And can you whip Maverick?
Right now, with how little I've been playing?
No.
I don't really think I got a shot, but I'll take him in a putting contest.
I definitely take you. Strokes gained putting, you got him. He needs to take a lesson from you. But listen, Scout, this has been a wonderful time to reminisce, talk a little bit, and just get to let the people of Baylor and my podcast listeners know who you are before you head out into that big real world. So thanks again for 3 great years, and thanks for everything you've done for us.
Thanks so much, Coach. Appreciate it.